Welcome to Keep the Faith Ministry News. I'm Pastor Hal Mayer. In his closing speech to the United Nations, September 25, 2014, David Cameron, Prime Minister of Great Britain, speaking of the mortal threat of the Islamic State, said, "We must be clear. To defeat the ideology of extremism, we need to deal with all forms of extremism, not just violent extremism." Mr. Cameron suggested that to have an aggressive war on terrorism, the nations of the world needed to expand beyond terrorism by dealing with the poisonous extremist ideology in all its forms, including non-violent extremism. What did Cameron mean by non-violent extremism? Here's a short list from his speech. Those who promote conspiracy theories that are not acceptable. The peddling of lies that 9/11 was a Jewish plot or that the 7/7 London attacks were staged, and the idea that Muslims are persecuted all over the world as a deliberate act of Western policy, and the concept of an inevitable clash of civilizations. Secondly, preachers of hate. We must ban preachers of hate from coming to our countries, and we must stop the so-called non-violent extremists from inciting hatred and intolerance. Thirdly, preachers of religious prophecies considered to be nonsense. We need to argue that prophecies of a global war of religion, pitting Muslims against the rest of the world, are nonsense. Mr. Cameron especially focused on preachers. As evidence emerges about the backgrounds of those convicted of terrorist offenses, he said, it is clear that many of them were initially influenced by preachers who claim not to encourage violence, but whose worldview can be used as a justification for it. We know this worldview." End quote. Would the day come when the Bible worldview of a global religious power forcing everyone to do its will, such as it says in Revelation 13, verse 8, be considered to be extremist by globalist leaders? So we shouldn't stand by and just allow any form of nonviolent extremism, Cameron added. Perhaps the day will soon come when even explaining Bible prophecies outside of the mainstream understanding will be considered to be nonviolent extremism. Cameron also admitted that targeting so-called nonviolent extremists would not be entirely compatible with free speech and intellectual inquiry, and called for the strongest possible international focus on tackling this ideology. From Cameron's speech, we can learn God's people will likely face allegations of extremism eventually for exposing the international and global conspiracy to bring all people under the control of a one-world religion, as it says in Revelation 13:8. Allegations of extremism also for preaching or teaching Bible prophecies in ways not accepted by the ecumenical movement, such as Revelation 14, verses 8 through 11, and Revelation 18, verses 1 through 4. Allegations of hate speech for explaining the Bible principles of fallen Babylon and the fallen daughters of Babylon, Revelation 14, verses 8 through 11, and Revelation 17, verses 1 through 6, etc. Cameron ended his speech by saying, "We are facing an evil against which the whole of the world should unite." This is Keep the Faith Ministry News. I'm Pastor Hal Mayer. Thank you for watching.